head in the clouds. Sometimes I hate the real me, feel me. Still somehow, about to make them feel me, the real me. I love me, even when I'm down, I'm fine as fuck. Even when I'm down, I'm fine. I know that I'm turning up. Shawty bad like she knows she is, she don't.
All right, so people want to know about Epistis Sophia, as if, you know, I'm the Keygen or some shit like that, and I got all the keys to the freaking Pandora's box. They want to know about Enki and Enlil. They want to know, what does that have to do with Yahweh? And people want to know, you know, what I know or believe about religion, or what have I come up with when it comes to like modern day. Look, listen, I don't feel like I'm somebody you should listen to. I feel like at the end of the day, you should just listen to yourself, you know, because at the end of the day, it's gonna be like up to you to discern anyway, you know, how much of it you want to be your reality and how much of it you don't want to be your reality, you know. And as if, you know, it's all, you know, like puzzle pieces to fit where you want to fit it at, because that's exactly what it is. It's like, it all doesn't pertain to you until it pertains to you. Like, your religion might not even be you, you know. It might be what you were given at birth. And, you know, in a place like America, you have an illusion of free will. That's actually free will. You're free to actually worship and praise who and whatever you want to praise over here. In some nations, you know, you're not free to worship and praise who you want to praise. And anybody that you praise behind closed doors could end your life. It could get your life taken out, like literally. So, you know, it's like, at least over here, most people will be like, oh, this is, you know, it's a reason why. It's like the energies that reoccur. You want to know what the spirit is? The spirit is the legacy of dead people, basically, so to speak. Not necessarily dead people, in the words of Christ. Let the dead bury the dead. I walk amongst the living. It's better that way, I'm going to be honest with you. When, you know, in breaking down even the spirit of Christ, or the return of Christ, is basically the return of the spirit. There's a physical, but it's a non-physical return, because that whole died and rose, even that was a physical but a non-physical return. It was like a whole reference to be like, yo, you can kill me, but you can't kill what I'm about. So when it comes down to it, it's conviction, it's legacy, and it's the fact that, what have you built? How many pyramids have you built? What have you restored? Are we going back and restoring old temples and then leaving behind a little piece of us for the future so they can see it? And then, you know, adding on to the process of enlightenment, or telling people, or telling, you know, the future generation how we got through this generation to get them to the next generation that was actually looking back. Because there were strategic plays made by different tribes, either innately, on purpose, or by the hand of an act of God, that allowed us to survive, and allowed the ones who could translate, or the ones who would know what to translate, when to translate, or be perceptive of how to translate when necessary. That means there was somebody who wrote it down, and there was somebody preserved who could read it, who could break it down in so many different ways. And then the rest was left up to DNA, which most people, even scientists, are finding it hard to actually, you know, understand that the human genome, or the genetics, or what makes our DNA, is also codex, or Akashic records, or can actually store data. And most people be like, what are you talking about? Well, do the research. Like, within, like, you know, just a droplet of blood, you can put the whole universe worth of data into that droplet of blood. Like, you can literally put the whole, one drop of human blood can house enough energy to say everything we've seen in the universe thus far can be housed in that one drop of blood. And just that variation. So just imagine it's billions of people down here. So one drop of blood per each observational unit. So that's data going in different computers or different minds, different ways of computing, different DNA, different structural codes, different breakdowns, different birth processes, different patterns, different genomes, different structures that intertwine and make one structure. Like, Pistis Sophia is proof. It's the spirit of gene modification, if you really want to know. It's literally that. It tells you about, like, if you pay attention to Sophia and what's happening with Sophia, even Christ is likening Sophia to the mother, or to Mary. He's likening Mary, as in Mary was like Sophia, being able to carry him or carry the child. Not saying that Sophia is Barbello and Barbello is Sophia. Look, to get into Pistis Sophia, you have to get into who Lilith is. And then to break into who Lilith is, you have to break into who Barbello is. Garadamus, Seth, and all of these Aromonius are these androgynous beings who took place or who came into formation in silence, which most people ain't gonna want to understand. That's agnostic teachings, and even more, that's ancient teachings. That's teachings of actual world and how the world came in. That goes in with the Sumerian text. It separates, but it goes in with the Sumerian text when you bring up entities like Ea, or Tiamat, or Enkidu, or even Enki himself, or An, or Anki. Like, whenever you bring in these, and even getting into Horus and Haru, or even getting in even deeper into like the Roman, like getting into Roman beliefs, or getting into like, Zeus and Athena and Ares and Apollo and all of that. When we get into all of that, and Hermes, Trismegistus, and like the knowledge being passed around, from thought to Hermes, transcending from like, knowledge, the knowledge seekers. Even with most people would think that serpent itself means something evil, but it doesn't. It literally bears in with, the keys to knowledge. They call it Enki's key. That's really what it's called. My DNA jumps every time I think about it. The Ankh with the snake or the serpents wrapped around it is literally called Enki's key. And it's the key to like the door of knowledge, the doorway of knowledge. And it's a metaphysical key and it's a physical key. And those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Don't come find me. You already know what you need to know. Like, I got what I needed to get out of that book. That's all I needed. What you needed. You got what you got. I got what I got. You dig? Let's straighten up and fly right with our existences. You don't do shit too dark, you won't have to see me at the end. As long as I don't do shit too off, I won't have to see you at the end. You know how the fuck this shit goes. But yeah, man, it was really just me getting to the bottom of it. It's like, or letting you folks know what's really what. You have to do your own research on that stuff too. But it's all one in one. It's all literally one in one. Like, once you bust it back, you'll figure out why the Pharisees laughed at John, and why Christ actually chilled with the Pharisees, and knowing whatever he knew and knowing whatever was what. And how people look over the poor in spirit without realizing exactly what that means. A definition behind it, occultism, a sect, a tribe of people. We just whatever with it. But yeah, when you think about it, subjects like, apocryphers and, books of knowledge and papyruses, if it's not the Holy Bible or the Quran, it's pretty much taboo, y'all. It's like, I don't want to sound like everybody else when they say it's mumbo jumbo and possibly witchcraft or some shit like that, but you got to look at it like that. Like, or you got to be so skeptic that, you don't take my word for it and be like, yo, Josie being hypocritical because he read them books himself and he had a chance to dabble in that himself. He read them apocryphers himself. Yeah, I did. I wanted to know things that I should feel like I deserve to know. I wanted to, if you were like me and you were like black and you came up in America or anywhere that they told you that slavery was once a part of your culture or part of your you that make up you, as if, your you wasn't fucked up already. They had to bring slavery into it and be like, yeah, so your people used to be slaves and used to serve this group of people for whatever reason. And then, people open up a Bible and make moral sense of it to be like, yeah, so your people were slaves because God didn't like them, or they did wrong by God in some twisted way, or they did wrong by their father, most people want to take, Abraham or Noah's curse when Shem or Ham or one of the kids actually seen Noah naked or whatever, and it's basically leading to let you know that, to me, people go too far. They be like, oh, maybe he did more to his father. No, the nigga technically seen his father fucked up, drunk, and didn't say, and covered him up and went back and told his brothers, yeah, Pop fucked up, and he didn't even cover him up. He got them, was like, man, that motherfucker ain't there passed out with his shit wide open and shit looking crazy. It's like equivalent to that. And then your brother's been like, well, why didn't you cover him up, bro? Why you didn't cover him up? What if somebody else walks by? And he like, who else is gonna walk by? Yeah, it's just the family out here. And they like, bro, it's the principal. And they go back and cover him up. And he's like, curse that motherfucker. He could have covered me up himself and didn't have to tell nobody. And then he probably would have been like, bless my son. Caught me at a weak moment and lit me up. You know what I'm saying? He covered me up and made sure ain't nobody know about it, type shit. But us as twisted humans want to make so much more of it. It's like, the white folks or whatever, they be like, oh, well, he obviously knew his father. He actually did some gay shit to his father. No, nigga, it's literally the same sum of that. If you see me with a booger in my nose, tell me I have a booger in my nose. Or if you see me with my shirt on backwards, tell me I have my shirt on backwards. If you see me out there and it's cold, I'm fucked up, and I ain't got the decency or got the right mind to cover myself up, cover me up. Don't go back and tell people, he out there with his ass out. If I'm your family member, that's even more messed up. Like, it's all lessons. It's just a bunch of lessons to be learned in life that most of us, we overthink it or don't think deep enough on it, and then we miss the whole point because of that, because of patience and ignorance and different things like that. I'm not above it myself. I'm in the mix just like everyone else, taking my walks, acknowledging life, that type of shit, creating content. Levels to everything, There's always a level to it, It's always like that whole notion that, everything is more than what it is, when it's really not. It just is what it is. You just want it to be more than what it is. That's all it really is. We always want it to be a movie, but it's not a movie. It's real life. It's reality. We just want it to be more than what it is. Sometimes it is, but it's never a coincidence about that. Just so there are no such thing as coincidence in life. It's all pertaining to things that pertain to you and your higher self, and agreement in the lessons that you wanted to learn. Like, I guess it's safe to say some of us wanted to know God tier shit, so we're searching for God level lessons, like the definition of existence, the theory of expansion, space, the final frontier. What is it? Whether the world is flat or round, even though we know the end results of that is damn near laughable. It's like my cousin is like, he's like, yo, cuz, the world's flat. And I'm like, bro, you're like, yep, I just like talking about it. Boy, you ridiculous, bro. But yeah, so as that sun sets in a variation of beautiful colors on the spectrum behind me, and you're enjoying your best life, I want you to make sure that you hit that button, that like button, and then you hit that subscribe button, and then you carry on with the best parts of your life, because I was taking it out of my time to explain the spirits and everything, because people like knowing about that stuff. If you do, just go look it up and meditate. The answers normally come to those who meditate or seek it. It's not like knowledge is just gonna hide away from you forever, unless you just that stupid the way you just don't. You say you want to see it, but you ain't really looking for it, and it's right there in your face, but you ain't looking at it. You too busy watching that girl shake her ass. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Keep on watching that ass do its thing. Well, you might get you some pussy. Who knows?